Secondly, volunteer in your schools and communities. Do things for people and for the planet. What can we do? The planet is in peril, so we need to work together and make sure that we work with it. We celebrate the 80th anniversary of the United Nations today. 80 years, it's big in any for anybody, whether it's a country, whether it's the United Nations, whether it's a person. It is important. We thought we should have a moment to bring young people into the UN compound to inspire and to understand the history of the United Nations and why we talk about the United Nations when we talk about the United Nations. It is, as you know, because you also know the history of Timor-Leste, so you know the role that the United Nations played with the leadership and the people of Timor-Leste from the referendum, not even from the referendum, all the 24 years that Timor-Leste was invaded, all the advocacy that happened to get to the referendum happened in the corridors of the United Nations. And that's what the United Nations represents. A space where people, regardless of race, nationality, ethnicity, disability, sexuality, anything, as long as you're human, and we're all humans. There can be no non-humans. You know, there's nobody that is a non-human. If you're human, you're human. That we can all come together in a space and we negotiate about things that matter to us as people. So when Timor-Leste was in this struggle, it was in the corridors and within the United Nations that this fight, yes, there were fights in Timor-Leste, but it was not won by war, it was won by negotiations, and it was won in the corridors of the United Nations, the fight for referendum and subsequently the independence. And that is what the UN is about. That no matter how small or big you are, there's a space where you can come together. Not only discuss the issues that are challenging, but also resolve some of the problems that affect the most vulnerable in our societies. That is what the UN is about. How do children go to school and be protected? That children are not abused in schools, they are not abused in homes, they are not abused in the society. That there are schools for children to go to. That children learn properly. They have the right vaccinations so that they do not fall to childhood diseases. So we have UNICEF. We have UNESCO that works on science, on culture. UNESCO is doing some work, for example, I'm sure you don't know this, to make sure that ties, which is your cultural heritage in Timor-Leste, that it is preserved and that it is not stolen away from Timor-Leste as a cultural artifact. That is the work of UNESCO on science. So you have UNESCO, you have ILO that provides skills and labor for training. You have IOM, International Office of Migration, that works on borders, border management. You go, if any one of you have traveled, you will see that in the last 2-3 years, Timor-Leste is improving in terms of systems. Even when I came to Timor-Leste just 2.5 years ago, nearly 3 years ago, there were no, there were so many things that were not there at the borders to make it secure. Timor-Leste is now going into ASEAN. We must have a secure border for people to go out properly, but for the right people to come in. We have World Food Program. They provide food for the most vulnerable. Not just food, but to make sure that the food is healthy, that people eat right, because if children are malnourished, there's a big thing we say, if you don't feed your child properly between pregnancy and 2 years, and the brain becomes stunted, the brain cannot be fixed again after 2 years if they've already been malnourished before they are 2. So this is important, and also how the UN agencies come together. So you have the World Food Program that provides that kind of support. We have ITC. We went to see ITC. It doesn't show the UN logo, but it's also a UN agency that has been supporting government in ASEAN. Government put in applications since 2011, I think. So it's been a long process for us to get to Sunday, when Timor-Leste will become formally a member of ASEAN. And that has been the support that has been provided. What agreements will need to be signed? What reforms will need to happen with government? What will Timor-Leste negotiate with the 10 other countries? It's a UN agency that has been helping government to do this. So our work is very varied. But we work together as UN agencies, and we are coordinated to make sure that all of our work are integrated. And so that is where my own role is. I don't have a program, I'm the resident coordinator to make sure that all of the UN work is coordinated, it has the impact, and we're able to give the best to Timorese, to the people and governments of Timor-Leste. I told you, learn more about the UN in Timor-Leste, but also across the world. Secondly, volunteer in your schools and communities. Do things for people and for the planet. What can we do? The planet is in peril, so we need to work together and make sure that we work with the planet. Care about the planet, take care of your environment, care about discrimination and abuse of rights. If you see people cheating other people, speak up. Those are the values of the UN. Speak up, challenge it. But first, you also challenge yourselves. What do I know? What do I need to do more? Finally, just to speak very quickly about the exciting work. The UN has had a lot of struggle, but the exciting place for you to work, and not just in Timor-Leste, it's fantastic for you to work for the UN in Timor-Leste, but you have the opportunity to work anywhere else in the world. I'm standing here in front of you. I'm from Nigeria, which is in Africa. It is thousands of miles away, but I live here, and so many of us have come from different countries to work in Timor-Leste. It's exciting, it's fulfilling, but what drives us and what should drive you is not the job, it's the passion to change the world. Every night you sleep, when you leave this place, you must ask yourself, what is keeping me awake? What is troubling me about the world? That is where you find your passion. And your passion will lead you to the career that is going to improve the lives of people, not just of Timor-Leste, but of the world.